Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of I Can't Remember Shit, a memory podcast. I'm your host, Evan Barton, and today, me and a lovely guest are attempting a thoughtful descent, a peaceful reminisce, and an honest recollection of our own memories. Every episode, my guest and I discuss one aspect of memory in particular that they don't know about until I tell them right here, right now, on this episode. Some of our favorite memories and our least favorite memories can evade us in the moment and might make us say, I can't remember shit. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode. I am so excited to welcome my lovely guest, Josh. Hey, Josh.
Hi.
What's up, diva?
Not much. Staying warm.
Yes, staying warm, staying share.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cold.
It's cold, guys.
Wagon wheel.
Wagon wheel with Tootsie.
We just immediately go into share impersonation.
I love it so much.
It's kind. I love
It
it. And
is.
you said you got it like
Literally
when?
today. Yeah.
Today.
I texted you and said, "What are you wearing?" You told me, and I was like, "Okay." I walk in a thrift shop. First thing I found.
Let me go pick something up real
Literally
quick.
in and out in 5 minutes.
That's how you do it. That's how a real one does it. Well, welcome to the show. I'm super
you,
excited
thank
to
you.
have you here. What do you know about Ike? What do you know about the show? What do you know about Ike? Remember
I
Shit?
did listen to some of the episodes. I know it's a memory podcast. I know that my memory sucks, so this should be good. But I know that that's kind of loved here.
Yeah.
But you do a lot of reflecting, and I love that.
I call it like intentional, like recollection. You know,
Yes.
there's like something about putting yourself in this like exercise of like, wait, can I actually remember anything?
Right. No, yeah.
That I find people at the end of a recording session, they end up enjoying it about themselves.
Yeah.
My friend Drew was like, dang, I like got emotional like multiple times. And I was like, you know, we're not necessarily going for hard hitting emotions, but
Yeah.
it just depends on what the topic is for like what
Yes, it
direction.
does.
And you're nervous, aren't
What
you?
is my topic?
We're gonna get there.
I would love to know.
We're gonna get there. But yeah, it's really fun, and I like that. You know, I have a really cool group of people in town and
Yeah.
in my community that are willing to go and on this exercise with me. And you're one of my newest connections that has been like, well, yeah, I would do it, but like, what are we? You've been like, what are we talking about every
No, I
time
know.
you've
I'm
seen me?
Vibrating.
But I'm curious. Like, what do you listen to podcasts? What are some of your podcasts?
I listen to a couple. I listen to Bold and the Beautiful. I know
Love.
that's kind of cliche. Everybody
No.
listens to that one. But I do really like it. I really like Drew Offalo's podcast
The
as
comment
well.
section.
Yes, hers is so good.
Hers
It's
is-
got Chapel on there. I'm
Yes,
shook.
that was a great episode.
That
too.
was.
I see. You're fans of the divas that are at the top of the podcast game,
yes.
which I love because
And I
like
yeah.
they're my inspirations as well.
I saw a lot of them like because like especially Drew, she blew up like during the pandemic, and I was just the whole time. So
And she's
I
not
watched them,
afraid
like-
to go there.
Yeah, I love that.
I've seen
More of that, please.
Yeah, more of that, please. I've seen so many people just like come completely sideways at her on the internet than like
Yeah.
many other people, and
It's so annoying too. Because
it's-
if it was a dude, he would just be a douche, and the conversation would be over.
Exactly. I see. It's so interesting that like I feel like these dynamics have played out on the internet like so many times
Yes.
to where like we always end up saying like, oh my gosh, if there was like a reverse gender role, like things would be so different. And it's like,
Right, and then
we
nothing
need to
changes.
reverse the freaking
Right, why
gender
does
role.
Put it in reverse, Terry. It's not
Literally.
doing it.
I don't get it, and I'm encouraging you listeners to be different.
Yeah.
If you come for us, we are two gay men,
I will come for you.
and we'll come right back. We have claws. Well, I do.
Mine are a little short.
You have claws. You have nails.
They're grown out now. Yeah.
The nails are
Check
good.
the
Check
manicure.
the nails.
Little hearts.
I love that.
Actually, did steal that from Harry Styles.
Well, you know.
I didn't have to say that.
Gender queer icon.
Thank you. Yeah. He's so bisexual.
He's so bisexual.
him and all his girlfriends, and we love that for him.
What I loved about like that moment, I think there was like one moment where it was about like just his wardrobe in general was being brought into the
Yes.
conversation,
Yeah.
as if it were the only thing he's ever done to
Right.
like have some awareness of sexuality or gender,
Right.
and it's just like. Maybe my sister went to like his first concert, like when he first went as a solo artist and
Yeah.
everything, and like he brought out the rainbow flag and was like waving it around.
Been new. I was not surprised.
I was not surprised, and I mean, this point, I still don't think we know that he's gay or
No, yeah. I thought
on-
he did come
in
out
the
as
community.
bi. That could be misinformation.
Maybe.
I
We'll
really
spread
don't-
it. We're here on a podcast. This
Harry's
is the
bi.
perfect place to do that. Spread all the misinformation you want.
Oops.
You have permission.
Thank you.
Well, I'm excited to jump in to our first segment. And our first segment this is going to be a little difficult for me because I'm like, we've been knowing each other, I think, in the
Yeah.
community
For sure.
for a while. But just within the past couple of months, I feel like we've gotten a little bit closer, which has been awesome. But we're going to dust off our filing cabinets and go into like our first memories of each other. And I
Okay.
would love for you to go first.
Okay. So I'm trying to think. It definitely would have been in like the Studio 66 environment here, which is kind of just like an
Yes.
art show, different curated events kind
Mm-hmm.
of vibe here. I do remember seeing you do bimbo performances.
Okay.
A lot, and loved those. She's a
Period.
fierce drag queen. And
I don't know if you would call, but I do
then-
drag.
She dresses up really
She
well.
dresses up.
And then
She plays in Mother's Things.
and then I remember seeing you just around the bars and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but we never really talked to each other, but we knew a lot of mutuals.
Yes.
Um,
Many mutuals, I
yeah.
think, is a good way to
but the
describe it.
few like times I have like been around you or like next to someone you do know, you've always been so funny
Yeah.
and like just usually always in such a good mood.
Aw.
And I love that.
I love that too. I
But
was like,
yeah, a lot of spotty sightings.
I know,
is
exactly.
How I would describe it.
Well, in the Studio 66 environment is like one of those things that it creates a frequency of interaction, which
Right.
is really important for community
Yes,
because like
yeah.
the only way you're gonna make that step to communicate with someone is if you see them multiple
Right,
times.
yeah.
And so that's what I mean. I love Chris and Carl, and I think that they do a
Yes.
lot of good work in creating that community for us and curating it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have made many friends just from going to those events,
Same,
like
yeah.
the Drag Race viewing parties, which we've been going to.
So fun.
So fun. If you're here in Tulsa on Fridays at Rabbit Hole, it's a great place to come out. I love. Chris was telling me one of the times when we were there about the post that he made on the Studio 66 Instagram that is like the category is like Burr, Snow Bunny or whatever,
Yes.
and it's Alexis Michelle walking down the runway and she goes Burr, shh. That's like. And that's been like made fun of multiple times on Drag Race because it's really stupid, but it's so funny. But my specific first memory of
Oh, no.
of you,
Oh, no.
it's not bad, and I really think it's like I could go two ways with this, and I'll probably talk about both. But
Yeah.
my first like memory of you, and like the first time I felt like we actually had a conversation was at the queer night market at Twisted
Yes.
Arts
Yeah.
during Pride
Had
this
my blank
year.
on that. Yeah.
And so that was I bought a sticker from you
You did.
because you're an artiste.
You were like one of the only people that bought one. It was great. It was so nice.
well, yeah, you and Wyatt were like chilling and just hanging out. And was he selling anything too?
No, he
or-
was just there being the supportive man that he is. Love him. But
king.
like I have never done anything like that. That was my first time and I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to have.
Yeah.
So I just showed up with what I did have, which was nice and it like helped
Yeah.
me figure out like what people do at those events and what people do buy and what people don't buy. It
Absolutely.
was a knowledge moment.
That's super fun. And it was like a queer space
Yes,
and like
yeah.
that whole night ended up having like a lot of drag and
yeah,
everything,
and they
which
did
was
that
great.
rooftop performance, which I
Yes.
didn't even know was happening.
On-
It was awesome.
I was like, is it on this building?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in this building, which is crazy.
yeah.
But yeah, I remember chatting with you there, and then like when I have Wyatt on, I would bring this up, but like I knew that you and Wyatt were dating because I had seen Wyatt like at a presentation for Campus Tulsa at One Oak, which was funny because
Yes.
it's like, oh my gosh, there's one other gay person in this room.
Into the business land, yeah. He knows that feeling.
Yes. And I'm walking in with my like purple or blue hair at the time.
A relief to him, I'm sure. A deep breath.
I love being a rainbow beacon
We need
in
people
the
like
corporate
that in this
world.
land.
But that's so fun, and I like that. The other first memory that comes to mind, I feel like is, I don't want to expose you, so I might cut this
Don't
out.
expose me. I really don't care. I really don't care.
I think I stumbled on the Twitter page first.
Yeah, no, I'm a failed porn star dropout, re-enrolled college student. That's what happened.
You don't.
No.
I don't think you failed, honey.
I got to like 1K, and then a few of the posts got like 100 likes, and then people were coming up to me at bars and being like, "Oh my god, I follow you on Twitter." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Wait, I think I hate this."
I think the fame got to you.
Yeah, my local celebrity fame.
How do they do it in LA? How
I
does
know.
every
I
gay
was like-
guy who has an OnlyFans survive in that
It's
city?
just a lot, and then like people are weird about collabing. I
Mm-hmm.
just thought I think I had romanticized it in my head, and then it ended up just not being as
I can imagine. I
fun
think
as I thought it'd be.
absolutely. I've like, I don't know. I guess I've sincerely thought about like not necessarily starting an OnlyFans, but like, being one of those like Twitter or Blue Sky gays that
Right.
post like their body
Yeah.
constantly.
That was the vibes.
And I think that what has always like ultimately stopped me is that like I felt the need to have a separate life on Twitter, where it was like the people that I want to follow me that are like my friends, I don't want them seeing my whole
Exactly, and then it's weird to just like be normal out in the bar because there's like one headspace for when you're posting that kind of content,
Yes.
and then there's a whole nother headspace when you're like out and about. And
Yeah.
I don't want those worlds to be friends. I
It's
want those to be
just-
separate occurrences.
It's hard. I would love to have a conversation with someone. I mean, you have the experience, so I think you're really validating like what my fears were about it, which I love.
Yeah, my bad.
No. But it's honestly like really valid. What I think it's just interesting to think about. Like, yeah, I mean, in some ways, knowing that that persona of you, and
Right.
then meeting you and having like an interaction that was not at all focused around that. It wasn't.
Right.
I
Which
wasn't
I
coming up to
appreciate.
you as a fan.
Right. Thank you.
Absolutely. But I do think that like I don't know. There's just something about that like fine line of like, do you see my like content and do you see the
Right.
person behind the content, or are you
Exactly.
only here for the content? And
Right.
some people are really only here for the content.
Right.
So-
And then there's like the whole aspect is like when I did it on Twitter, I was being super mask and like, because that's not really who I am in real life.
Yeah.
And I wanted that to be different. So it was like, I was being like a character.
I
His
agree.
name
I-
was Daniel.
I
and I
think
loved
that I think that like gay Twitter is very mask centric
Yeah.
for
and then,
the gay male community.
and then that's the part where it's like, it gets complex. And then it's like, am I feeding into something not good here? Yeah.
But then it's like, I don't know. Because if you want to, like, I think that my advice, not that it's informed in any way,
Hit
but
me.
like the way that I would advise other people to go about this if they were to do it is to like truly just be you and don't
Right.
try and filter yourself through the view of other people.
True.
If you have a passion for showing whole on the internet,
right.
you should
Show your
do
hole,
it.
baby. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm like, I think that I'm trying to talk myself into having like that mindset of
Right.
I want to be desired, or like I want my stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
And like, baby, I go through enough of that in person that I don't really need the whole world to join in on the conversation.
Right.
Which is why I have a podcast
With your clothes on.
with my clothes on, my chest hair out,
Purr.
very demure.
Very tasteful.
But I appreciate you engaging in that conversation with me a little
Yeah.
bit, because like I think it's not necessarily a past life, and I don't necessarily
No.
think it's anything that you're ashamed of, nor should you be.
No.
Good. I'm glad that's not how you left. It was just like, it's not the time. or
No,
I'm not
yeah,
feeling
and that's
it.
the thing. I've always been like, maybe later. Like,
Yeah.
let me try some other things first. and
Let me
then
get this
see.
degree.
Right. Let me get the piece of paper. See if I can make a salary.
Period. And you will. I believe in you.
Thank you. I need that. The times are hard.
They are, and like that's the whole thing of being an online content creator is like a gamble, and going viral is not guaranteed, and is going viral
going
even what you
viral.
want? Like, no,
You don't
not-
want to go viral,
no.
and I went viral in 2020 on TikTok, and I gained 5,000 followers off the video.
Period.
Never again.
Really? What was your viral TikTok? Yes, spell.
So I went crazy, as most did during
Mm-hmm.
the pandemic, and decided that I needed to go see a mental health professional.
Okay.
So I went to a primary care who is not a mental health professional, I found out later.
Uh-huh.
They put me on 150 milligrams of something called Effexor. And apparently you're supposed to start small with antidepressants and move up. I know nothing. And
SSRI?
apparently-
It was like one of
Yeah.
the, oh, wow.
Turns out that's not the medicine I need. I went crazy.
Oh, wow.
And I posted some things online that thankfully people thought was satire. And I gained lots of followers for being a crazy person. And then all that has since been deleted, removed. I'm sure someone has it somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What was the one that went like viral? Do you
it
remember
was-
what was it about?
So I unfortunately was one of the people on the TikTok with a set of tarot cards.
Oh,
One of my
okay.
most humiliating eras.
What's wrong with tarot cards?
There's nothing wrong with tarot cards. That's just not me. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I was not myself. And then, like, later my friends were like, hey, what's going on?
So, hold on, I'm unpacking this just because
Yeah,
I'm curious.
and I didn't think I was going to bring this up today.
No,
Here
that's
am.
I know I dragged it out of you. I'm so sorry. What you had tarot cards? Were you
Yeah.
doing pulls for people on
It
live?
started as something later.
Okay,
Later
okay.
on, that's what happened.
Okay.
I was like doing it mostly as a joke with my friends. Like we bought them and we were hanging out and we were all just like reading them together and like
Mm-hmm.
literally had the instruction manual out. Like had no idea what we were doing. And then
You were
I
practicing divinity though.
literally. And then I started posting about it, like my personal experience with it, and then people would comment and be
Yeah.
like, "Give me a reading." So then I would like post it with their little comment thing because I was like, "Oh, this is so fun," and
Yeah.
I'm bored and
Yeah.
doing nothing because pandemic. And then I just think it went too far. I'm a big starter and stopper. I'll start things and then completely shut it down.
Hey, at least you start them.
Right.
I feel like that is honestly like not necessarily a toxic
Yeah,
trait. It just depends on
right.
if the thing that you're not following through on like has major consequences.
Real.
And like that's a passion or like a
Yeah, and it was really
whatever.
interesting, and I learned a lot about like esoteric traditions and stuff. It's just like
Period.
not really my thing anymore.
Yeah.
That's the thing is I mostly just like kind of moved past it.
Yeah.
Didn't keep me
interesting.
satisfied.
As little things do these days.
Literally.
I love it. Well, let's detour
Here.
into our topic for the day, and I'm really, really excited to
Yay.
because I know you're looking forward to knowing
I
just
am.
for like the
The
anxiety to be
suspense.
relieved.
I've been waiting for over a week.
Yeah, like I was like at least like 2 weeks because you've messaged me like 3 or 4 times. I've been like, so when are we doing this?
Can we
I just
pull
need
the
to
band-aid
know.
off, please?
I just need to know. All right. Well, we're gonna dive into our memory banks. And if you know anything about memory, like the hippocampus is where like all your
Yes.
memory is stored. And so we're gonna start them up, and we're gonna reminisce
Purr.
on this topic. And I'm excited to talk about this topic today
Yay.
because we both have experiences with it.
Purr.
We're gonna be talking about tattoos.
Oh, purr. The
You can
relief.
relax.
Oh my god.
Okay, this
God.
the other topic I thought about. I should have asked you if you had any guesses. Fuck.
I know.
What were your
Sorry.
guesses?
I thought you might ask me about porn, which happened anyway. And then I genuinely had no idea. I was only scared that you were gonna ask me about something that I knew nothing about.
Okay,
which I
yeah.
told you last week. I was
Yeah.
literally like, if you ask me about something, I need a lot of knowledge on.
Well, I did my research. I
Purr.
looked at you.
Horrifying.
I was like, what do you have a lot of?
I do like a tattoo.
You love a tattoo, and I love a tattoo. I
Yes.
think I'm in the process of like really thinking about where and the placements and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Like as I enter my 27th year of life, which is
Purr.
crazy. But the other topic I was thinking about was video games because we have played
And I
video
do love
games
video
together,
games.
and I
I
know
love
you
both
love
of those
video games.
things.
Yes, I was like, video games is so broad.
It
I think
is.
that I need to cut it into certain eras or like
Yeah.
something like that so I can get more content out of it. This is a producer note for myself.
Real.
Anyways, we're going to be talking about tattoos, and I'm really excited about it.
Yay.
We dive in first into our favorite memories about tattoos. And
Oh
so
my gosh.
I'd love for you to go into a little story or a little memory about your favorite tattoo. And you can open this up to like maybe your favorite tattoo you've seen as well. But I would, your personal tattoos
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
are
yeah.
pretty notable.
One of my favorite tattoos I got from Pocky. It was at Electric Gnome at the time, but Pocky is now at Haunted Heart. If you go look him out, but he
I
did
know
my
Haunted,
neck
I know Haunted Heart.
and my neck. I did have to argue with him about
Yeah.
because he didn't want to do it because I didn't have any other tattoos. And there's like a culture to tattooing where
Yeah.
like they want you covered before you get other stuff. And then he was mostly worried about like he's like finding jobs, like you're young. But I was like, do you want to be a frat boy about it, or did you want like $600 today? And he was
I
like,
love that you bullied him into it.
Because I was like, I'm not going to do this with you. I want the tattoo. I had it saved for forever.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted it.
Because is it like olive? Are those olive branches on the side, or
Yeah.
like?
They're cute little branches.
Period.
Kind of branches. But they're branches, greenery.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to like get more stuff like up higher.
Yeah.
And I plan to be covered.
Covered,
That's
yeah.
the goal. Because I do think I'll go bald. Womp womp. And when I do, if you're going to be bald, you have to be tattooed.
Really? Is that like a culture
me,
thing?
To me.
To me.
I
Your
think
own
I will be
personal reason.
most aesthetically pleased with myself if like I'm bald and literally just covered in tattoos.
Okay,
I love it
You-
so much.
I love that.
and I love when people literally like I love when people have like the crazy there's one right here, but
Mhm.
I won't do anything like that until everything else is covered.
Yeah, that feels like a last stop on the tattoo tree.
And I know that's crazy.
So how did you bully this man into giving you a neck tattoo as your
he
first
was
tattoo?
giving me every reason not to have it, and I had literally had it drawn up. Like I drew it,
Yeah.
and was like, I know that I want this. I've had this saved for like 3 years.
And how old were you?
I was 21 at the time.
Okay.
And he was like, you're young. He was worried about the jobs, and I literally said to him, I was like, well, do you want to be a frat boy about it, or do you? Because he was making it sound like there's like this hierarchy in tattooing
Yeah.
to like getting your neck done. I was like, do you want to be a frat boy about it, or do you want to make the money?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, if you're sure about it, and then we scheduled. He was like, I'm gonna schedule it a week from now, so you have a week to like be super sure. And I
Yeah.
was like,
But
okay.
you put a deposit down, so you were committed.
Exactly. I was like, yeah, here's $200. See you Thursday.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. He was down to do it, and then he was super friendly day of the appointment. He wasn't like a jerk.
Okay.
He
So
was just like really concerned about.
yeah. I mean, a 21-year-old, it's like
Right.
selling a 21-year-old alcohol for the first time.
Yes.
Like, are you sure you want the Jaeger?
Is this what you want? Yeah, and I appreciate it from him.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to be covered in tattoos, even from when I was young. So
Okay,
I felt
so
like I wasn't gonna do it.
talk to me about the pain. That is like the thing that I feel like, and we talked about this, I think, the other day too, about
Right.
like there was one tattoo that you had where you felt like the pain like in your jaw. Or,
Yes,
yeah.
that was down here. My neck was not bad, like
interesting.
compared to my chest. Like my chest was way worse, but I did sit for 3.5 hours for my chest. Wow. My neck, I think I was probably like maybe 2 hours.
I was like maybe 2 hours, yeah,
Tops.
because
Like, it
there's
could have been less.
because there is red,
Yeah.
like inside the numbers.
It was like,
Is that the year you were born?
yeah,
Baby.
I'm a little baby.
I'm a little baby.
And it's just, I'm dated right there for
But
you.
apparently, people on TikTok are saying anyone born after the year 2000 is like ancient and old.
I know, I saw that. Isn't that crazy?
That's
But-
your people.
But yeah, and something like people were also saying, he's like, what about if you get old? And I'm like, I think that will look hilarious.
I
Even
will
if it
get old.
blurs into one big bar
Yeah.
on my neck. I'm covered in tattoos, and then I'm like a wrinkly old man.
Well, and like I
gonna
will
look
get
sick.
old. Like that's
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, you want it at least to happen. So
Right.
like that. I think the philosophy behind getting a tattoo is like something that some people who are. I'm not gonna throw out accusations like you're afraid of commitment or
Right.
like you don't. You think it's tacky,
Right.
or whatever, or that you just wouldn't do it. Like I think you should just land on that last one. Like if
Right.
you just wouldn't do it, like baby, that's it. That's all you have to
just don't
say,
do it.
and I will respect you.
Right.
But like, don't yuck my yum. There are, I say that specifically about tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
I yuck a lot of yums of other things.
Real.
There are other things that I am not.
One thing
down
I'm going to
with.
do is contradict myself.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly.
And will.
But like tattoos, like I think are really just a personal decision, and I love that in like yours. It's like you drew that, like that is
and
something
I
that you
drew
wanted.
this one. Now Logan over at Black Gold, he did this one for me. Very talented American traditional tattooer, and
Mm-hmm.
I love that style. It's just very like Betty Boopy, which is kind of why I like Susie too.
Is that
I
kind
love that.
of
Like,
is that kind of what this is?
that is very American traditional.
traditional. Okay.
Yeah.
Black gold.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Most of their artists do it.
I thought so.
But Logan did this one. Can I pull my tits out? on cam?
Absolutely.
Okay. So these are my tits,
These are my tits.
and
Yes.
I drew this, and it's a red skull and
It's
some
dope.
blue
It's so
roses that look very vagina-esque, but I love that.
They kind of do, actually. Yeah. The,
Which is kind of an American traditional.
where did you get the skull design from? It like
So-
honestly looks like an oni in Japanese.
Yes,
Like,
but
okay.
I didn't want to do like a Japanese style just for my own preference because I
Yeah.
was like, that feels like not for me.
Yeah.
And then I had done one of my first paintings I ever showed was a red skull, and it had like a kind of knotted up mouth.
Yeah.
And it looks very different than this, but I loved it. It was the first thing I showed that I was like actually proud of.
Cool.
And so I put that out there, and then I was like, that would be cool for my chest piece because I wanted to do a skull. And I was like, I'll just use my old skull. And then I kind of drew this out and then had him clean it up.
Okay,
He made it
nice.
look like American traditional.
Like a tattoo.
Got
Okay.
it, yeah.
He
Like,
kind of translated it into the style that you
yes,
wanted.
Very
Okay.
that. And
That's
then he
really
did
cool.
it for me, and
You
cut
said that
me a
one was
nice deal.
That's
but
good.
this one hurt. This one hurt real bad.
I'm nervous for my eventual
Especially on
one.
that sternum, and
Yeah.
then this area right here next to your nipples.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it was down there, I was feeling it in my nipples, up in my jaw. It was like over here in my shoulder blades, and he's literally on me like a
Yeah,
writing
he's like
desk.
sitting on
So
you,
I'm
like,
just there's
edging
nothing I
it.
can do. And I was like, oh, and I went in so cocky about it too. Like I really wasn't nervous. Like Wyatt was like, are you good? And I was like, yeah, I've got my water. You don't even have to hang out, girl. We'll be done. Because I was so cocky because I had my neck done, and that was like the whole thing for me. Is I was like, if I just do my neck, everything else will be
You
easier.
said you thought that you started with like pain level like 10.
and then nothing would
And
be that
nothing
bad
wouldn't
again.
be that bad.
And then I was so wrong.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
well, like this isn't my worst. It's low key. It's a part of the story, but like my ankles hurt so
could see that.
fucking bad.
Yeah.
like there
After-
was something about the ankles that were like literally.
That thin skin,
Ooh.
it's no joke.
Well, and you're so close to a tendon. I think like the bone versus the muscle versus
Right.
like a joint versus a tendon. Like there's just so
Yes.
many different parts of your body that like can
and then
absorb
it
pain differently.
depends on the artist as well, because I started dabbling in tattooing myself. I have a bunch of fake skin and a tattoo machine, and like I
You have a bunch of thick skin.
fake skin.
Oh, okay,
It's like
okay,
a
okay.
silicone skin pad that you can practice tattooing on.
That's cunty.
It is so fun. And then I have like a thermal printer to make the stencils and everything. And so I've been practicing, but it is so technical because I'm a painter.
Interesting.
Never done anything like this where like the pressure of your hand matters a lot. 'Cause,
Interesting,
Like,
okay.
needle depth,
Yeah.
all of that. So like if you have a heavy-handed artist, it's just gonna hurt. But that
It's just-
tattoo's gonna look crisp.
Yeah, but it's going in
Yeah.
further and it doesn't fade fast.
Right.
Right.
There's like all kinds of information to know there that I'm not knowledgeable enough to
I
speak
need to
on,
watch freaking what's the competition tattoo reality show? It's
I
like
haven't seen that
tat-
in ages. Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
Master Ink.
Yes,
that
it is
show.
Master Ink.
That has been going like viral on TikTok a little bit for like one tattoo in particular that was like new generation. No, what do they call it? Like there's like some style that like they gave the style of the tattoo is so ambiguous that it makes
Sure.
like no sense. Like they were describing they were giving the judges critiques were that like it wasn't giving enough of this style, and it's like, but what is
But
this
what is that style?
like this is and it looked like the tattoo that she had done was like one of the green ghosts from Ghostbusters, like
my
with
God.
a big wide open mouth and
Yeah.
like nasty teeth, and I was like, who would want this tattoo? First of
Real.
all, who would want this tattoo? Second of all, like I don't necessarily. I guess it's art style. Like tattoo style is art style,
Yes, and then there's a
and I can
ton of
appreciate the
different
difference
styles.
between that.
Right, and I also don't like the big. I love color, but when it's
Mm-hmm.
like realism color for like cartoon characters or like a big green guy from Ghostbusters,
Yeah. There's
not my fave.
Yeah, and again, we're not yucking yums here.
for my body.
It's for my body. And I think that tattoos are, you look at it and you
Mm-hmm.
go, would I want that on my body? And you immediately say yes or no.
Right.
And like, I don't know. All of
Yeah.
yours I see, I would say yes. I would have all those.
Yes, and I love this style because so if you'll look at the pictures of when that style kind of got popularized, it was a lot of sailors in the war, and you'll see pictures of like sailor boys, and they were all, and that's like where they sent boys that looked like me at the time. Like they're not super muscular, they have like really skinny muscle, and they're all
Yeah.
covered in like the American traditional, like the eagles and
Interesting.
like the little devil cowboy guy.
Yeah.
And
I was like, every style I feel like has a signature
Right.
caricature
and I just
to it.
love the thought of that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Just looking like a little 1940s sailor boy. It's so cute to me. I don't know what it is.
It's so cutesy.
Uh-huh. I mean, their life was not cutesy.
No.
It's cutesy for me.
Well, yeah. It's
Your war, my aesthetic.
I've never heard that.
I don't know if you can say that
You just did.
on camera. Hi.
I love that. Okay, well, I'm gonna go into my favorite memory about tattoos. Oh, before I do that, what's your favorite tattoo you've ever seen on someone, if you can recall?
I
This is
actually
hard.
just sent this to Logan because he's
Period.
kind of the guy that I will go to when I have the money to be tattooed. That's the
Yes.
thing. It's gonna take years to get where I want to be. But I don't know what you call these. Maybe you'll know the name of it. They're
Oh.
like these, you know, those big spiky balls on a chain. What's
Like
that?
a mace,
Yeah, maybe.
like from
sounds right.
like from.
Check
let's
that
see.
out.
Oh,
I don't know if
yeah.
can they see that?
Pull it back, and then I was like tap on the screen.
But I
to
would lo-
focus if that's not what it is.
But it's like
I kind of see it. It's kind of like
yeah.
it's got like tendrils. It's got like
And I just sent him that, and I would love that in like more American traditional style. So maybe like the spikes being more rounded, more
Yeah.
kind of cartoony. But
Okay.
like getting that on my shoulders,
ooh,
would love that.
that's pretty cool.
I've been thinking about that one a lot.
I like that you have like an artist that you trust and that you're like, I
He's
know
great,
you're
and
gonna
he's
do the work that I
Easy to
want you
talk
to do.
to, and he's not like a jerk. Because that's the thing. Some tattoo artists are just plain assholes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, have you had? We'll get to your bad experiences, but
Yeah.
like there have been bad ones.
Oh,
that-
yeah.
yeah.
Not great ones. I have
And
a real bad one.
Oh, save it.
Yeah, I will.
I'll get to mine. Okay, so my favorite memory relating to tattoos. I mean, I have 5 tattoos so far.
Wow.
It's not that many, but it's like enough
It's
to
enough
feel
to
like
know.
I've sat for it
Yeah.
and done the experience, and I want to get more. So like I'm interested in the whole
Right.
process. I think my favorite one that I got was so I have 2 wolves on my arm.
I love
I
that
wo-
little wolf.
I
He's
wore a
so
tank
cute.
top to show the audience. So I've got 2 wolves back
I
here.
didn't even notice the one on your tri.
The one on my tricep is the one I'm talking about as my favorite because it was like for a long time. Ooh, look at the color on that. It like still looks really cool
She's
on
popping.
the camera. So yeah, this tattoo I got going into my senior year of college, and me and like 2 other friends had gotten back from our summers where we were. I was in New York City the summer before my senior year, but we got back to
Work.
campus before the semester started, and we were like, let's go like check out this like new tattoo shop that's opening in this new spot or whatever. And so we went because most people went to this place called like Just Pierce It, and it had like tattoos
Right
also.
on.
And I was
That's
like,
a crazy name.
I was like, I
Just
don't like
Pierce
that
It.
name. It was something like really silly like that. But this
Yikes.
was a new place called like Standard Tattoo Company, not even
Sure.
open yet. Like, and only one artist was there. And I don't know how my friend like Brie or Mars like had known about the guy, and they got the hook up, and they're like, "Do you want to go get tattoos?" And I was like, "Well,
Right.
yes." And so we went, and we like literally made a day of it because we all 3 got tattooed, and
that.
we all 3 wanted like very different pieces because we went through kind of like what his books were. My friend Brie got like I think she got like this peacock that's like on her tricep that is like just line work, and then I got this wolf with kind of the like mandala like
Yeah.
background, which I think is, I wish I knew the style of tattoo, but it's not traditional.
No.
or American traditional. It's like
Um,
something else.
I'm bad at this. Because really, the only one I know is American traditional
Yeah.
and like cyber sigilism.
Cyber sigil- I was like, we were gonna talk about
It gets shit on, but I love
It
it.
does. I like it.
That's so good.
There's some of them that I like.
Right. It's very 2000s to me. Which I
Yes.
love those vibes.
So the whole thing was we went and got these tattoos, and the guy ended up being like this really nice, like really nice guy. He was a former NFL football player that just like retired
Pipeline.
to the White River Junction, or like what's called the Upper Valley in like New Hampshire and Vermont.
Okay.
And like it comes up on my Snapchat memories like every year that this happens, or every year that like memorializes that or whatever. So it was like early September, like late August. And we just had a really good time. It was like a very enjoyable tattoo experience. At that time, this was my 3rd tattoo. And my first tattoo is my worst memory relating to like my tattoos, but it's
No.
kind of
My first tattoo is also my bad one.
okay, good. I love that. I felt like anybody I asked this question ever was gonna be like, my first one was terrible, but like you kind of fall in love after that with just the
Right.
experience. And I think what excuse me, like all of my tattoos that I have 5, are significantly culturally meaningful to me.
Right.
And so like I have an indigenous background in Cherokee and Chickasaw, and I've kind of like really dove into like what my identity means to me, like kind of very much like in high school into college. And then I studied Native American studies and kind of like just learned a lot of things about
Yes.
who I am. My sense of self became very clear.
Yeah.
And tattooing is like essentially a traditional practice
Yeah,
for
and
many
those
cultures.
tribal tattoos are so yummy.
They're so cool.
So good.
And my friend Portland just got some traditional tattoos like on her knees in her language, and I was like, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So
That would be so good
But
on
it's
you,
really
too.
interesting because like tattoos also have been appropriated as fuck.
Yeah.
Like
No, there's a whole
when I
culture
go
of
to the
that.
gym and I see the big muscle tattooed guys and I'm like, ooh, they're so hot. Bam, Indian chief
Literally.
with a freaking war bonnet on his arm. And
Yes.
I'm like, ooh.
Hey,
Like,
queen.
I want to go scrub it off of him. Like,
Real.
and he's just like the plain white bread guy with like big muscles. And
Yes, yeah.
I just like, I
They
don't know.
do a lot of like the Buddhist. They do it's kind of like the mandala. But they're supposed to like each be like a sigil of some kind. Like they bring a certain kind of protection, but they literally like hammer that
Oh, wow.
stuff in. But it's like a super, I'm pretty sure, protected thing for
Yeah.
them.
And-
And I see a lot of people get those like on their shoulder.
I guess I'm just like, not do your research, mama, but like.
But you are tattooing your body forever, so maybe
Exactly.
like know what it means.
And for me, like, I don't know, maybe someone, I mean, I hope someone wouldn't do this to me, but like, maybe someone very traditional in my tribe would see my tattoos and be like, those mean nothing. But they
Right.
mean something to me in my
Exactly, yeah.
in my understanding of who I am as an indigenous person. My first tattoo is like that are on my ankles. It's this necklace that I need to get fixed, but it's a necklace that is kind of like before the Cherokee Nation had like a written language with like symbols. They did have like ancient symbols, and we have this symbol on a necklace that my stepmom got me my freshman year, and it essentially means journey. And so I
Okay.
got I have to hike up my leg to show you.
Get it up here.
But I got the. Oh, is it on there?
I think it's in your sock.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. How
Oh
do
my
I?
god, no, that's so cool.
How do I?
I can see it. I don't know if they can see it.
There we go.
Oh.
And it's on the other side too. Let me stand up for this one.
Perm. It was
It
leg
is-
day.
It is hiding on my. It was leg day. Oh my gosh. Can you see
It's
that
so
one?
cute. Yeah, I see
It's
it.
faded off.
Yeah,
but
down there fades pretty easy.
It fades really quick. But anyways, that one, I have the necklace, and so I got this tattooed on me. The symbol means journey. So I got them on both my feet. And then the reason I started with wolves on my arm is because we're Wolf Clan in Cherokee. And so and now I have a wolf pack because I just got my
Yeah.
second wolf.
That's so cute.
And so, yeah, tattoos to me, and then I have a moon on my leg. So, like, moon and wolves and, like, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
No, I see the
you
storyline.
see the vision.
Yeah.
Well, and then this one, like, as I've started, like, planning, I'm like, okay, well, this is going to be, like, my color sleeve because, like, both of these tattoos have
Right.
color on them. And then my left leg is just line work. So I'm going to do, like, just line work tattoos there.
I love those sleeves.
Yes, they're
It's
really
simple
fun.
and cute,
And then we're
yeah.
going to do... I want to have like a color leg and a line work leg and
Real,
a color arm and a
This is gonna be my color arm. I'm gonna
Yes.
do all black on this one.
period.
Yeah.
See, we have the same vision. I love it. But yeah, I think that tattoos are really fun in so many ways. It's a creative expression that you
Right.
always get to wear. It's an accessory.
Yeah. For me, it was like a big part of like being rebellious
Yes,
too, because
yes.
like my family, very conservative Christian.
Maybe we
Rip.
shouldn't even talk about
And
that.
it was very like if you get tattooed, like you're defiling your body,
Yeah.
like all that. And so I was like, I'm gonna go get my throat tattooed. So it was very that. But yeah, it means so much to so many different groups of people for so many different reasons.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I love it. I love it. Okay, in your hippocampus, if you take a left, and
Yeah.
you'll fall down into the memory dumps.
Right. I think I'm there.
And so definitely we're going to talk about our worst memories related to tattoos. We've kind of teased some
Yeah.
of these out a little bit, but like, tell me the whole story.
Okay, it's hard because there's two. There's two.
Love.
So I'm like,
Do both.
okay, because this one will be quick. I was obsessed with tattooing, too young to get tattooed at the time. And
Like
so
16?
I think it was 15.
15, okay.
Which just makes this story even worse here in a second. And so I literally went to Walmart, found out you can get this stuff called India ink, I believe is what it's called, and a little sewing needle, and was like, I'm going to stick and poke myself.
Ooh.
At the time, I was a little church boy, and so I was going to put a little cross on this finger. And I did. And
You
it's
thought
still-
God would honor you?
Right. The finger that I pop in holes. And this one is still kind of very vaguely there. There's no way you see that on camera.
Yeah.
But there's like a scar here now because a year later, I decided, because we had National Guard recruiters at our high school, that I was going to join the National Guard.
Oh, gosh. I love how you went from religion to military.
And so I was like, straight to the National Guard I go.
Mm-hmm.
But they were like, you can't have finger tattoos. I was committed.
What?
I was committed to this journey for myself for some reason, which is so wild to think about who I am now and like who that person was at like 17.
Yeah.
So I looked up how to get a stick and poke out, and how you do that is you get a Jenga block and you wrap some gauze around it, and then you put a lot of salt and then just barely any water, so it almost makes like a salt paste, and you scoop that up on the Jenga block, and you get to scrape and girl.
What?
And you get to scrape and girl until you get to the ink. And once you've like raised all the skin out to the ink, it will remove the tattoo. And it did, but I now have a horrible scar. Like it's gonna scar
Wow.
horrifically. So my friends had to help me do it. Me and my friend that was also gonna join.
Did it hurt really
Yeah,
bad?
oh, horribly. And I was like biting a towel at one point, and he's just grinding the skin off my
Grinding.
finger. So that one definitely up there is one of my worst tattoos.
That sucks.
And the cross sucked. Like the little crossbar was like crooked, so it barely looked like a cross.
She was giving cross.
Right. I was gonna do a little angel number stick and poke on this finger. It just didn't go well.
I can see it,
I couldn't get
though.
it to stay in my skin.
I like
So-
stick and poke is something I've heard forever. It was like
I have
the
a-
thing that everyone in high school was wanting to
Yes.
do because you couldn't go to a real place, blah blah blah.
And now I have a gorgeous one on my thigh.
Period.
Fallon, she does a lot of clothing design here, but she's gorgeous. But she's been on mama time. She just recently had a baby. But she did my thigh, and it looks great. But my other bad one,
do it. You're not a fan?
it's her.
The
No, nobody shriek all at once.
187?
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's gonna go ahead and be my father's badge number. Oh. When he was I was 17, and like I didn't really have that dynamic down pat. Didn't realize a lot of things about myself or my family.
Yeah.
So I just hate it for that reason. But it's also a horrible tattoo, despite the attachment to the police officers. It's like bleeding at this corner. I don't know if you can see that,
Yeah.
but it's like much thicker over here. This line's way thinner. The 8 isn't even with the middle. Like it's slightly
Yeah.
over here. And I'm fully convinced the tattoo artist that gave it to me like did it on purpose. Because my mom brought me in to do it, and we were in Florida of all
Oh
places.
gosh, I was like, it's probably because you were in Florida.
Yeah. And he was just kind of like really sarcastic and dry with us about me wanting to get the tattoo, especially when he found out like what the meaning is. And obviously the tattooing world and the police world colliding is a lot.
Yeah.
And so the whole vibe was dodgy. And then when I got it, I didn't know what a good or bad tattoo was, so I didn't even notice. But like as I started getting more tattoos, I was just like, this one has just become uglier and uglier.
Yeah.
So I've been saving up to get it covered.
I was gonna say, are you gonna cover or redesign it?
cover.
Okay.
I just want it covered.
Interesting.
I don't.
Would you cover it with like another, like comparable sized tattoo or like?
So what me and Logan have talked about is there's this American traditional dragon I want, but it's gonna be like 1,500 because it's a lot of ink and it would go all the way up to here.
Yes.
So it's gonna take some time to get that done. But essentially, like the tail, he was gonna look at it and see what he could do, but the tail is gonna wrap around this way to the hand, and then
Okay.
kind of make its way around my little demon guy here, go up here, and then it would just be gone in the
That's
mix,
so cool.
and it would be just underneath the dragon.
I want a dragon too.
I want a dragon so bad. So I found the American traditional ones because I was like, this is my style. They're
Yeah.
so cool looking. And it would be red and black, which are my favorite colors.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's like what I want to cover it with.
That's so interesting.
comparable.
The 187 being his badge number and like
And also the code for officer down,
oh,
which is
it
funny.
really?
We can laugh. It's funny.
because you have to. The audience doesn't know why it's funny.
Oh, okay. So when police like call in things to each other, 187 means an officer was killed. And I got the tattoo as a memorial tattoo, and his badge number is the code for when an officer dies.
your dad. Yeah.
But it was also his badge number.
Interesting.
Irony.
Irony, that's exactly what it is. It is a sad, but like what do they call it? Like bitter form. I don't know. There's like a phrase for what they describe irony. But that's. I mean, I have to say it is. I like that your younger self and in some ways like did recognize that your dad meant something to you in some way, that you're going to translate that meaning of your dad meaning something or being anything in your life to something that you do like, which is tattoos. Because that wasn't your first tattoo. The badge.
My finger tattoo was the first one. This was technically the second.
Yeah.
But it was the first time I went to a shop and got anything done. And yeah, I just wish it hadn't been connected to an institution and had been more connected to like ham.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and this was like, how long ago was this?
I was 17 because you can get tattooed at 17 in Florida.
In 2017.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I knew nothing, guys. I knew nothing.
You didn't know ACAB.
Literally, I didn't know that life. I hadn't absorbed that life yet. It was a long journey there.
You know, and I think that that's something that, a lot of parents would throw out that, like, if you tattoo yourself, you're tattooing yourself forever, son.
Right. So I was encouraged to do something like that. Which now I'm like, I will get anything. I want to get a Pokemon sleeve on my right leg.
Yes.
I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was fully convinced everything had to mean something. It all had to have, like, some big meaning.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always. It's nice to have meaningful tattoos, but they don't all have to be like some big intricate thought out thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like literally this was like to that point. This was a flash from Friday the 13th.
Right.
And I was like, I
So
just looked at all the things because I was like, oh, I like wolves. Let me just find a wolf that I like.
Sure.
And then he like added a couple other like details to it, which I thought were cool.
Yeah.
But man, I mean that is tough.
Yeah,
That
and
you still have it.
I know,
You
and
really
it's
can't
bothered
get
me
rid
for
of it.
years. I've been trying really hard to get rid of it, but I have
It's
to say,
in kind of a prominent spot.
it is. And then people see it, and I always wonder if like people are getting the wrong idea, or they think I'm like a hillbilly, or I'm like.
You think people
Like
think you're a
super
hillbilly?
I don't know. Like, do people think I'm like a conservative hillbilly? I don't know what I'm giving, so I try and be like. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, am I overcompensating for like something nobody's even paying attention to? Because I'm like constantly trying to like, I promise I'm not this girl.
Yeah.
Don't look at it.
No, you're holding your shame.
Right, literally. She's right here, and I can't get rid of it.
That's interesting. I mean, it's sad about your dad, and I know a little bit about the story, so we really won't go into that. But like, I do.
We can if you want. I just also don't want to like.
We don't have to. We don't have
Cool.
to. It's just like. I think that tattoos are memorial tattoos are interesting because that is like a huge freaking like genre of tattoos, if you will. I go and see like at the gym which is where I see like most people in with like their tattoos out because they're wearing shirts that'll show it or whatever. And I see like some people have like full portraits of people tattooed on their bodies.
There's some really good
There's
ones.
some good ones. There's also some really bad ones. And like,
And it's wonky. Like
I
the
see
face is
numbers a lot, and you just if it's 6 digits, it's typically like a date or whatever.
Right.
And it's that's something that I don't think that I'm not gonna yuck yum. I'm gonna just go back to that. Like for me, no.
Right.
I don't know if anyone that I love would be honored by a tattoo in their memory.
That's real.
Yeah.
And then also, it's there to remind you all the time.
Yeah.
And there's a serious part when like you do lose a loved one where you have to move on.
Yeah, you have
like
to
you have to
agree,
find
yeah.
your new normal. That part of life unfortunately is over. And then like it's constantly there. So
Well,
you
and I bet someone who has that tattoo would say that maybe that allowed them to move on.
Right.
Was that I
Everyone's
took
different.
the pain again of losing them by getting the tattoo, and then that was the cathartic moment. And you know what?
That is a beautiful way to look at it.
To each their own.
Right.
I will not yuck your yum, but not for me, girl.
Right.
Okay, let me
agree.
tell you about my
Yes.
least favorite memory relating to tattoos. So, this was a really interesting this was my first tattoo that I got, and it
Right.
was the ankle ones that I just showed you. So this was in a really positive time in my life. This was in the fall of 2018. So I was turning 21 for the first time I turned 21. I turned 21.
Yeah.
And that's a big year, you know.
Yes.
I was in college halfway across the country, and like I had obviously like been drinking and doing college stuff
you
at the
should,
time, but you know, it was a different vibe to be 21, and like that is the last age barrier
Right.
to like almost anything.
Everything.
Yeah, the
Like-
only other age barrier that like you have that might inconvenience you is like being able to rent a car until you're
Right.
25.
Yep.
Which is one of the stupidest freaking age
It's
barriers.
insane.
I'm like, if we're allowing kids to open up credit cards at 18 and to vote, we should be allowing them
I
to
can
like,
take out a student loan, but I
Yeah.
can't rent that car. That's
Exactly.
crazy.
Exactly. And so went and got this. We were in New York City. I just so happened to be in New York City at a conference at Columbia for Columbia is in like the upper part of Manhattan.
Right.
And we were out and about in the town and doing stuff, and I just decided that like I wanted to get a tattoo. And there were a couple of people that were like, "Oh, well, I'll go with you." And my friend Annalise went and got her tragus pierced, which I was like, "Oh, that
That one
sounds
hurts.
painful
Yeah.
AF." But because that's the one that like I think it goes through. I think is it or no,
Tragus
it's
is
this
this little nub.
this thing
I
right
think.
here. Yeah.
I'm not a big piercing girl.
I think she got that pierced, or she got her bar. I can't remember. Annalise,
want my
if you're
bar.
listening, let us know. I hope you're listening, girl. Diva, I missed you. But we went and got tattoos together, and the reason it was bad was because I had a couple of weeks prior gone to Chicago and visited a friend, and I had a great time. And on that trip back from like the airport to basically to travel or to get to and from my college, you always had to take what's called like the Dartmouth coach.
Okay.
And it's a fucking bus. And the
Work.
bus was like annoying and everyone hated it, and you would always see someone that you didn't want to see on the coach, and
Right
then
on.
you're on a bus with them for 3 hours.
3-hour bus ride.
Yeah, because you
That's
drive
crazy.
from Boston to like Hanover, New Hampshire, which is like 3
I
hours.
see.
Okay.
Okay.
And so to fly out, you have to go from Hanover to Boston. And
Right.
so on my return trip from Chicago to New Hampshire, I had lost my wallet.
No.
2 weeks before my fucking 21st birthday.
No.
And
That does
went
suck.
and like lost my wallet. What is so annoying about this is that I had lost it on the coach, and I had
course you
called them 5 fucking times and asked them if anybody had found a wallet.
Please.
And I went on. What ended up happening was like this is after I got the tattoo and all this stuff,
Right.
but it's part of the story. You're able to like see what bus you took on your ticket when you buy it. And so I went through my whole records and was like, I need to get on this bus.
Please.
I walk onto the bus and fucking found my wallet. And I was like, I've been calling you guys for 2 weeks.
No
Like,
one
what
answered
the
me?
heck?
Yeah.
Well, no one looked. That was like
Real.
ultimately what I found out was that nobody looked. I was asking and nobody took the time to look for something that was extremely important for
Yeah.
me, an out-of-state student. Like for me to replace all my identification at that time would have been like absolutely a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
And so I have another crazy wallet story that I might tell too, because it's honestly so
yeah.
ridiculous. But anyways, we go to New York. I end up like driving a rental car that was rented by the Native American program, and I had to like. I bought like this ID that was like I don't know how you would describe it, but you could put in like your social security number and like your license number, and this I don't know online verifying like thing
Right.
would essentially like reproduce an ID for you that would verify your legality.
Boosh.
Yeah, crazy, worth it to drive because
Yeah.
I was like, if I got pulled over, didn't have my license, and driving a rental car,
It's a wrap.
It would have been bad. And I was like the responsible upperclassman driving like, freshmen and sophomores to
Yes.
New York City in a van.
The pressure's on.
The pressure was on. And so the guy at the tattoo place took the ID.
Her.
And it was the first place we went, and we were like, this is New York City. Like, they're gonna give us a tattoo.
Right.
And the reason it was like the reason I would say it's like my worst memory relating to it is like, or relating to tattoos, is because it hurt. It like really hurt.
Yeah.
Like whenever I just recently got one, and this one, there were a couple moments where I was like, fuck, like
it
this
really
hurts.
pushes the line sometimes.
There's something about it, like, you know, after the line work is done,
Yeah.
all the shading and all the color on the tattoos I've had on my arms have been like fine, but like where he was on my body was so freaking painful.
And sometimes the position makes it worse that they make
when
you
I'm
be
like
in.
I'm like laying down flat, and like he's like,
Getting arm barred.
yeah, and we were watching this like crazy movie that it was a Richard Gere 1980s rom-com movie where like I think he's having an
That is
affair.
crazy.
I think it's like both they're in like this loveless marriage, Richard Gere and some woman, and they're both cheating on each other, I think is the plot of this
Wow.
movie.
That's so gay for a tattoo. I have never not gotten a tattoo with like screamo music playing over the whole experience.
Well, and like Black Gold recently was like not. It was overstimulating because it was Friday the 13th, and there were so many people
True,
like
it's
in and
always
out,
packed
in and
out.
out. But like it was an enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I think it was my least favorite because genuinely, truly, it's faded.
Mm-hmm.
It hurt really, really, really bad, and the stress of being in New York City on my 21st birthday without an ID, which meant
Right.
that I couldn't go get fucking like drinks at a bar, and like
That sucks.
like that they will check your ID for
Yes.
drinks at a bar. They won't
Yeah.
check it for freaking for a tattoo.
America.
Yeah, it's America, but yeah, and I got my wallet back, and that whole thing was fine. But like it was like
When you have other
Couldn't have been
tattoos in that spot, do you feel like they hurt as much as that one did?
these
Yeah.
were, I think, the same pain level. This
Okay.
last one, or the first one I had on my arm, the Wolf and the Mandala.
So I'm wondering if
it
you're
was
just heavy-handed.
it was pretty heavy handed because like it's still got some color to it.
Yeah. No,
but
it looks like a...
but it was long. It was a long session. It was a long day because I
Weird.
felt like I can't now in my brain like remember how long he spent on mine versus like my two other friends because I was there
It's
with
also
them at the same
exhausting
time.
when it's over. You're wiped.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we went. I don't even know what we did afterwards. I wish I can't remember anything. So
I always take a shot and lay down.
there you go. Well, yeah, you have to have some
Numbing
You
on
have to have
that.
some decompress.
I can't.
Okay, well, we are at our final segment, Josh. I have
sad.
one last thing to ask you about.
Okay.
Okay, my final thing to ask you about is if you were to zoom out of tattoos and kind of just where we've been in this topic.
Yes.
And thought about like memories that you want to have more of going forward. What would you say is something you want to remember more of and in more detail?
Remember more of in relation to tattooing.
No, not in relation to tattoo. Zoom out of the topic.
Off the topic.
Yeah.
Something I want to remember more of. I want to remember pushing myself more. I think recently I've been getting way too comfortable. For a while, I was really pushing myself, doing a lot of like the Twitter stuff and doing a lot of like art shows where I was being photographed like completely naked. And for me, that was pushing myself. And I love adrenaline.
Yeah.
Love to like try something scary. But I got really complacent the last couple years. I would like to make sure I'm creating more of those memories where I really pushed myself, really tried new things. Like, it sounds silly because I can like show hole on Twitter, but like I'm gonna go play dodgeball later this week, and I'm horrified. I'm horrified.
No, it's gonna be
But
so fun.
Yes, and it'll be like even if I go out there and eat glass, it'll be a funny memory. And yeah, I really want to remember more of those things.
No, that's awesome.
'Cause I think that'll matter the most when it's wrapping up.
Yeah, when it's wrapping.
It's like, did I do fun things?
Well,
did I like have
exactly.
a good time?
I think that's a really good perspective too, because you're talking about something that you appreciate about yourself, which is like your more adventurous side, or
Right.
like, you know, that you're comfortable being outside of your comfort zone. But when you recognize that you've been in your comfort zone for as long as you have been,
It's
however long
frustrating.
that has been,
Yeah.
it can be like, well, dang, like you can start that cycle of like being a little self-deprecating, and
Yes.
that's not fun.
And that's
That's not
gonna
a
get
fun
me
place
nowhere.
to be. Yeah, it doesn't get us very far.
No.
So, well, I love that, and thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
And I hope to challenge you to be more
Yes,
adventurous.
please do.
I love
Ride
the
my ass.
the dodgeball is gonna be fun. It's gonna
So
be a
scared.
blast.
I'm so scared.
I
But
like
it's gonna be so fun.
I was really sore. Like when we were at Starlight
That's
on
the
Friday,
thing.
I was like, why am I so sore? I was like, oh, because I played like this random sport that I've never played in.
Because I went ham
years.
on dodgeball.
Well, I want to. If I'm gonna be a captain, I have to like show
Right.
up.
No, I'm gonna be in my backyard with like weighted balls, practicing my throw.
I'm gonna be watching Dodgeball, the movie.
What do you mean? I'm studying.
I'm studying. Well, is there anything? We're at the end. Is there anything you want to plug for our listeners to check you out on, or
If you can follow me on 2 platforms, first one being TikTok, we'll see how much longer we have her.
period?
It's Joshua Daniel, but the O is a 0 and the I is a 1. That's really complicated, but
That's okay.
I do a lot of video game live streaming on there, here and there. Not on a schedule, should be. No,
you
and then
shouldn't.
Instagram is the same thing. Joshua Daniel, O is a 0, I is a 1.
I am the one.
I am the one, the one, the one, the one.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Josh, for being here. I
course. So
appreciate
much
it.
fun.
I'm so glad. It flew
Yeah.
by, didn't it?
I loved it. Yeah,
And I chose a good topic for you.
you did. That was a relief.
I'm so glad. Well, and thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for listening to this episode of I Can't Remember Shit.
Bye.